Hello guys. In this video I'm going to attempt to prepare you with all of the information you will need to get your Silver Apocalypse trophy in Phasmophobia. I did silver because gold is actually hard to do, but with this method I really believe it is easy enough that anyone can get silver in a few tries. The only thing I will not be covering is how to use the gear itself because it is covered in my Phasmophobia tutorial video already. I will go over the custom game settings I suggest using. I will be showing you which ghosts can be identified during a hunt and demonstrating them at 150 speed. I will show you what traits to watch for outside of a hunt with zero evidence settings. I will go over the ideal looping points in Sunny Meadows, and I will even break down the specific phases I suggest for you to do during your Silver Apocalypse hunt in order to be successful. This video is made in VR and will be one of the few videos out there that caters to VR players in Phasmophobia. These methods actually work a little smoother in VR than on a flat screen, but they can be used outside of VR. It will just be a bit more tedious. Okay, I've rambled on long enough, let's jump right in. Let's quickly go over the ghosts you can identify during a hunt. The speeds listed are at 150 speed. Some of the video footage is during the Christmas Krampus event, so you will see some Krampus ghosts. Let's go right down the list. The spirit you can't identify. Wraith will not break salt during a hunt and travels a normal 2.55 meters per second. I'm down here. Okay, let's see. Did you step through salt? Nope, it's a Wraith. Phantom will be invisible noticeably longer and more often than a regular ghost. It travels at the normal 2.55 meters per second. A poltergeist will throw an item every half second, which is twice as fast as other ghosts. Also, if an item is ever thrown and then thrown again while still in the air, it's a poltergeist. It travels a normal 2.55 meters per second. Banshee you can't identify. Jinn can be identified during a hunt only if the breaker is on. If it has line of sight, it will run at you faster than a normal ghost until it gets to 3 meters, and then it will slow down to a normal ghost speed. It will travel at 3.75 meters per second when it uses its ability, and then return to 2.55 meters per second when it's within 3 meters of you. There we go. That's the ability. See how fast it moved? And then it slows down when it gets close to you because it only works until it's 3 meters away from you. Mare you can't identify. Revenant moves slower than other ghosts, but it gets very fast once it has a line of sight, and will slow down again if it loses line of sight. Revenant moves only at 1.5 meters when it can't see you, but at 4.5 meters when it does see you. Burn! Oh my god. It's a Revenant. Let's see another example of that. Definitely Revenant. Shade you can't identify. Demon you can't identify. Uray you can't identify. Oni is visible noticeably more often than other ghosts. It blinks out for a shorter duration than other ghosts and travels at the normal 2.55 meters per second. Yokai can't be determined reliably, but the ghost does have a lower hearing range during hunts, so hiding from a yokai is easier. Hantu travels slower than normal if it's warmer in the room at 2.1 meters per second, but if it is freezing in the room, it moves at 4.05 meters per second. This ghost does not speed up with line of sight. The main giveaway though is that you can see its breath while it hunts. Get some Roy. Oh, I saw a breath. I saw a Hantu. Goryo you can't identify. Myling moves at the normal 2.55 meters per second, but the giveaway is that you can only hear them at 12 meters instead of 20 meters away. So if your flashlight starts flickering before you can hear the footsteps, you're dealing with a Myling. Onryo you can't identify. Twins move 10% faster or slower depending on which twin it is. So that means it moves at 2.295 meters per second or 2.805 meters. I am not very good at determining twins by their hunt, but here's the fast twin. Here is another sample of the same fast twin. That's a fast one for sure. Here is the slow twin. And here they are side by side. Raiju moves faster around electronic gear, so it moves at 2.55 meters normally, but 3.75 meters per second around electronic gear. Fast, slow. That's fast. It's by lights again, so it's fast. Slow. Fast. That's how you can tell. Obake can change ghost model or ghost position during a hunt. It moves at the normal 2.55 meters per second. I'll slow down the area where it changes model. See how it changed? That's what we want. I want to see it change again. That was pretty dark, so here let's look at another sample of the same ghost. It's gonna kill me. Oh, it did not kill me. Okay. Mimic will behave like another ghost during the hunt, making it unidentifiable. Moroi will hunt from 2.25 meters to 3.375 meters per second during a hunt based on how low your sanity is, but with line of sight it can reach up to 5.565 meters per second. Oops, I had to add this in real quick because I forgot to mention that a smudge affects Moroi 50% longer than other ghosts. So Moroi is affected for 7.5 seconds during a hunt, while other ghosts are only affected for 5 seconds. You can literally hear me counting the seconds during this hunt. That's a Moroi. You can test a Moroi by taking sanity pills. For this example, just listen closely. You will hear it slow down after the pills kick in. Diogen will know where you are and head straight to you at 4.5 meters per second until it gets close to you, at which time it will drop to a mere 0.6 meters per second. Note that the ghost will never go further away while looking for you and won't open extra doors and such. It's a roof. Oh, it's a Dio. That's a Dio. Here's an example of a Diogen without the jingle bells. They will age as you stand near it. It has 10 age settings. At its youngest age, it can hunt at 75 sanity at 41.125 meters per second, while at its oldest age, it can't hunt until you are 15 sanity, and it moves at a mere 1.5 meters per second. These also do not speed up with line of sight. Come on, I'm over here. Okay, so that's how fast it is now. Now I want to see, now watch this though. This one came out dark and it stepped in salt at the end and slowed down unfortunately, but it is a Thay at probably age setting 3 or so. Now let me show you a Thay at its oldest. It's hunting? Finally? Oh, you're so slow.
Hunting.
Look how slow this thing is.
Thank you.
Most ghosts have traits you can identify or at least use to disqualify them, even in a no evidence run, and many of them don't require a hunt. Some of these are very direct, while others are subtle, but I'm going to try to cover all of the non-hunt indicators I know of here. Let's go down the list. Spirit can't hunt within 3 minutes of being smudged, but that is hardly a definitive identifier in my opinion. Wraith can't step in salt, so if the ghost breaks a line of salt, you can disqualify Wraith. Also, Wraith likes to teleport on you before it hunts. Phantom doesn't show in photos, but the photo still counts as a ghost photo, so if you have a ghost photo with no ghost in it, it's a phantom. Okay, that might tell me everything I need to know if it's a phantom right there. That definitely felt like a phantom, to be honest. I'm gonna say phantom. A poltergeist throws objects farther than other ghosts, but I would call that subtle usually. Here's an example. Oh, ho, ho. Holy crap. Also, only a poltergeist can throw multiple items at once in the same spot, so making a pile for a poltergeist explosion can identify a poltergeist. There it is. A banshee will stalk you and is the only ghost that makes the banshee scream noise, which can only be heard on the parabolic mic and sounds like this. That's a banshee. Here's another example. A djinn cannot turn off a breaker, so that is an instant disqualifier. A mare can't turn on a light, so that is an instant disqualifier. The mare can turn off a light switch right after you turn it on, but other ghosts can coincidentally turn off the light switch right when you do it, so I wouldn't rely on that. Mares seem to do this rarely anyways, and are far more likely to break the lights or turn off the breaker. Revenants require a hunt and no evidence. A shade won't be active if you have full sanity, so you can disqualify them if you have an active ghost at the start of a match where you have full sanity. Also, they won't be active in the ghost room when you are in it, which is a less reliable indicator. It can't hunt above 35 sanity, however, so that's a hard disqualifier. A demon can hunt at any sanity, and it can hunt 60 seconds after a smudge. These can be conclusive indicators. A Yurei can shut a fully open door without an event or hunt. Also, Yurei is the only ghost that can shut the front door without an event or hunt, so that can be a conclusive identifier.
Dude.
An Oni cannot make an airball. It is a disqualifier. Here is an airball.
Not an Oni.
Here is another example.
Airball. That's a good airball. Okay, so that's a good airball.
Yokai has a chance to hunt when you talk around it at 80 sanity or lower. A yokai test is a good identifier, but make sure you have a cross on or under you. On console, test a yokai by interacting with your radio.
Yokai.
Or interact with the spirit box. I have not tested using a monkey paw or a Ouija board near yokai, but I do not advise it. A Hantu cannot turn on the breaker. It is a solid disqualifier. A Goryo will never change rooms. It is a conclusive disqualifier. Myling require a hunt to identify and no evidence. An Onryo will always hunt after the third fire is extinguished, regardless of sanity. Test Onryo by putting 3 firelights on a cross in the ghost room. If the crucifix burns right after they go out, it's an Onryo.
There it is. That's an Onryo.
Here is another example. The twins can be identified by hearing things happening in 2 locations at the same time, which is called a twinter action. I have better luck seeing twinter actions on the activity board than hearing them, however, which looks like this.
See that right there, that's a twin interaction. That little bend right there, just like that. And right there, see it? So that's what it looks like on the activity board. It has like just a little curve.
Raiju has an effect on electronics at a larger range, but I don't use this to identify them as it is hard to measure conclusively. It is something to watch for as a signal, though. Obaki requires a hunt and no evidence unless it changes models during different ghost events. And by model, I don't mean posture. The mimic will act as any of the other ghosts, so keep that in mind always. A mimic's orbs can be seen, however, through a video camera, even in no evidence, which is a conclusive identifier.
Yeah, there's definitely ghost orbs, I mean. Okay.
Moroi requires a hunt and no evidence. Diogen requires a hunt and no evidence. A Thay can hunt at 75 sanity when it is at the youngest setting. They are often very active when they are young and become less active as you stand near them. Sunny Meadows can be broken down into roughly 5 areas. The main center area, which we can just call the common area for now. The male wing to the left of the common area. The female wing to the right of the common area. And then downstairs there is the hospital wing to the left under the male wing, and the restricted area to the right. In the common area, there are 4 looping areas that I personally like. The first one, which is the easiest to get to, is literally on your first door to the left. This is the manager's office. There is a desk and chair that you can loop around. This area is handy for gold apocalypse attempts, but you probably won't need it for silver. Through the door and across the hall when you first walk in, there is the chapel, which is the best looping spot in the entire map because you are surrounded by lit candles, which is great if you're playing with a broken fuse box and no flashlights. All the way down the hall, on the opposite side of the entrance, is the kitchen. That also works as a looping spot. And to the left of the kitchen is a table you can use in a pinch as well. This is the servant dining room. Also, it's important to remember that there are 4 rooms that are only accessible from the kitchen, so don't forget to check them when looking for the ghost room. At the end of the male wing, there is a room with 2 little looping areas. And on the end of the female wing, there's a similar room, but it only has 1 looping area and is a little pinched in one spot. These are called the male and female day rooms. Below the male wing is the hospital, and at the end of the hospital is the morgue. There is a table there that you can use for looping the ghost, and also there are 2 exits with dividers between them that can be used as a large loop if necessary. Be sure to say hi to Lisa's corpse, also known as Patient 7, while you're in there. This is the corpse of the ghost that you can see through the window door in your base. Also, you can find most of the monkey paw wishes here, which will fill your journal. If you walk down the stairs on the second door to the left when you first walk into Sunny Meadows, there is an office right across from the stairwell, which is called the matron office. This is a great looping spot too. And I use this looping spot for ghosts in the restricted area under the female wing if they are near that entrance. Or I will use the female day room above the restricted area if they're on that side of the restricted area.
This is Lisa's room. She was here for a while.
Before you start, make sure the game is set to solo and that there is a skull on the Sunny Meadows picture on the location board. Now let's go over the custom settings. Under player, the settings I use are starting sanity 100, sanity pill restoration is 40, sanity drain speed is 200, sprinting is off, player speed's 100, flashlights are on, lose items and consumables is on. Under Ghost, I use Ghost Speed 150, Roaming low, Changing Favorite Room is none, Activity Level is high, Event Frequency is high, Friendly Ghost is off, Grace Period is 0, Hunt Duration is low, Kill Extend Hunt is off, but there's 0 evidence given. Under Contract, we will want Setup Time 0, Weather Heavy Rain, Doors Start Open High, Number of Hiding Places is none, Sanity Monitor is on, Activity Monitor is on, your fuse box is on, and the fuse box is visible on the map, but there's no cursed possessions. You need to accomplish 4 things to succeed in the Silver Apocalypse Challenge, which are successfully identify the ghost type, get a picture of the ghost, it doesn't matter how many stars you get, complete the 3 objectives, and survive. The gear you are going to need to bring beyond what the game automatically gives you is 3 Tier 3 flashlights, 1 video camera, 2 crucifix, 4 Tier 3 firelights, these are key. If you don't have Tier 3, level up first. 1 Level 2 headgear, 4 Level 1 igniters if you're in BR, as this tier is more reliable. If you're on a flat screen, 1 Tier 3 igniter is fine. 4 Tier 1 incense, 1 Tier 3 motion sensor, 1 Tier 3 parabolic mic. I suggest you have Tier 3 unlocked here, but Tier 2 can work. 2 photo cameras just in case you drop one, as it's required to get a photo of the ghost. 3 Tier 3 salt, 4 sanity meds, and 2 tripods, the highest tier you can get. Once you load in, the first thing you have to do is decide if you want to accept all of the objectives that you were given. With this method, I'm happy with all the objectives except have a member of your party witness a ghost event. If you get a ghost that isn't very active, it can be difficult to accomplish, and I just don't feel like investing a lot of time in a hunt waiting for a ghost to randomly do an event, so I reroll this one. All of the other objectives are very easy to accomplish for the Silver Apocalypse method, but if you're going for gold, I would suggest you also reroll the objective to prevent a hunt with a crucifix. Once you have acceptable objectives, it's time to start Phase 1, which is finding the ghost room. We have it set to where the ghost never changes rooms. This makes it hard to identify Goryo, but that's a small price to pay for the benefit of not having the ghost change rooms in the middle of a game. In VR, you want to equip a Tier 2 headlamp, Tier 1 matches, a lit Tier 3 firelight on your belt, a Tier 3 camera on your belt, and carry a Tier 3 thermometer in your hand. If you're playing on flat screen, you'll want to do basically the same thing, just equip a Tier 3 lighter. Now we are going to enter the building and search room by room with a thermometer, looking for the cold room, turning on hallway and main room lights as we go, and then tracing back and turning lights off that aren't on the way to the ghost room. I suggest doing one section at a time completely before moving to other wings or floors. If you are playing on a flat screen, you will need to set down the firelight, get a temp reading, and then pick up the firelight again. Never be more than a couple steps away from your firelight. If your firelight ever goes out, relight it immediately and keep track of how many times it goes out. Remember that an Onryo will hunt after the third flame extinguishes. Also note that there are flames in the chapel that an Onryo can also blow out. After I check 3 areas without finding a ghost, I'll return to the van to check sanity, and if it is below 75, I'll take a sanity medication. Once you find the ghost's favorite room, you're ready for phase 2, which is doing tests in the ghost room. Drop the thermometer and return to the van to get more gear. Make sure to get the gear needed for your objectives first and keep track of your sanity. You do not want your sanity to go below 76 until you have a crucifix placed, and after the crucifix is placed, do an Onryo test. Once you go under 80 sanity, you will also want to do a yokai test. It also might be a good idea to set up a poltergeist pile while your sanity is over 65, using no more than 5 items to be safe. Set salt to test for a wraith, and listen for a banshee scream with your parabolic mic as well. Ideally, you will accomplish firelight, motion sensor, and parabolic mic objectives before you incite a hunt. Don't worry if you don't get a photograph prior to the hunt, and save all of your incense objectives for the hunt. Don't try to do a crucifix objective until you have your hunt area set up. Don't rule out banshee until you've heard 4 or 5 parabolic sounds. Pay attention to whether or not the ghost is active while you're in the room, whether it shuts off or turns on breakers, turns on lights, does air balls, etc. Also, every time you go to the van, check the event board for twinteraction. For phase 3, you're going to want to set up a looping point. Hunts are 40 seconds long, and a smudge will usually only last 5 seconds on a ghost. So breaking line of sight and setting salt lines in choke points can be a matter of life or death. Make sure you set a crucifix so that the ghost doesn't start its hunt on you. You want to be able to take a picture of the ghost and have any incense that you are not carrying be accessible to you. Looping is ideal. Use flashlights in the room to provide adequate lighting to see the ghost so that you can identify and keep track of it. Set only one flashlight close enough to where a Raiju will speed up when near it and slow down when not near it. Or cluster the flashlights together in one area. Lay salt in an area where the ghost has to walk through it to slow the ghost down and to determine if it's a wraith. Make sure you can break line of sight. Also set a lot of items around the hunting path for poltergeist to throw for easier identification. I also like to have a parabolic mic handy so I can monitor when the hunt starts and stops and get a feel of the speed of the footprints before the ghost is in range. For phase 4, we're going to incite the hunt. You will do this by turning off the main lights and just letting your sanity decrease. Make sure to turn off your headlamp before the hunt even starts. I like to listen with a parabolic mic. If a hunt starts and the ghost isn't finding you, you can attract it by turning on your headlamp, but I don't suggest doing this until you are at least 20 seconds into the hunt. Your only objectives are to get a picture if you don't already have one, watch the ghost for clues about its identity if you don't already know it, and use incense on it if that's an objective. Once the hunt is over, head to the van. If you don't know what the ghost is, cross out everything you know it isn't. You do have sanity meds if you want to use them. If you have incense, you can always start another hunt. You can try to run more tests, or worst case scenario, you can just make an educated guess and hope for the best. It might take you more than one attempt to complete the challenge, but it does get easier with practice. Just make sure to take your time and don't stress out. I hope that this guide has given you a lot of valuable tools to help you succeed in getting your Silver Apocalypse badge and trophy. And if it has, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and game on.